Today, we dive into the dramatic events that unfolded on June 24, 2023, when the head of the Wagner Group, Prigozhin, announced their intent to seize control of Moscow and overthrow the Russian government. Join us as we uncover the facts and untold stories behind this momentous day. As the news broke that the Wagner Group's private military tanks were surrounding and taking control of the Russian Defense Ministry in Rostov, the world watched in disbelief. The Wagner Group, known for its involvement in various conflict zones, now called for an armed revolution against the Russian government. The implications were staggering, suggesting that Russia could be on the brink of a colossal change. What made the situation even more astonishing was the open collaboration between the Wagner Group and influential members of the Russian military. Reports emerged that Prigozhin, the Wagner chief, had casual meetings with the commander of the Southern Military District, which held more than 25% of the Russian military forces. Furthermore, conversations between Prigozhin and the deputy defense minister indicated a willingness to support the Wagner Group's revolution. But it wasn't just internal Russian leaders collaborating with the Wagner Group. Rumors circulated that the CIA had convinced Prigozhin that Putin planned to arrest him, promising support if the Wagner Group pushed forward. Allegedly, the CIA provided real-time intelligence on the Russian military's movements, intensifying the chaos. In an extraordinary audio recording, Prigozhin boasted about soldiers meeting with the Russian guards and military police, who allegedly waved their hands cheerfully in support of the Wagner Group's cause. He claimed that Putin had made the wrong choice and predicted a new president for Russia. These audacious statements sent shockwaves throughout the nation. In response, President Putin publicly denounced Prigozhin as a traitor, calling the events a stab in the back of the country and its people. Security measures were swiftly strengthened across Moscow, with increased protection for critical facilities, state authorities, and transport infrastructure. However, amidst the escalating tension, the situation suddenly took an unexpected turn. The conflict appeared to subside, and everything returned to a semblance of normalcy. But make no mistake, the consequences of this occurrence are catastrophic for Russia. As we continue our exploration, we will uncover the hidden reasons behind this turmoil, the potential implications for Ukraine and the world, and whether a true revolution is unfolding within Russia's borders. Join us in the next segment as we delve deeper into this perplexing and pivotal event. Let's dig deeper into the secretive world of the Wagner Group. Founded in 2014 by Dmitry Utkin, a former Russian military intelligence officer, the Wagner Group quickly rose to prominence as a covert private military company operating on behalf of Russian interests. Although officially deniable, their involvement in various conflicts around the globe is widely acknowledged. The Wagner Group operates under a veil of secrecy, often recruiting ex-Russian special forces operatives and mercenaries with extensive combat experience. Their activities range from providing security services for Russian companies abroad to engaging in combat operations in conflict zones. What sets the Wagner Group apart is its close ties to the Russian government and its leadership's connection to influential figures, including Yevgeny Prigozhin, a wealthy businessman with ties to President Vladimir Putin. Prigozhin is believed to be the primary financial backer of the group, providing the necessary resources and support for their operations. The Wagner Group's first major deployment came in 2014 during the annexation of Crimea. They played a significant role in securing key infrastructure and supporting pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine. Since then, they have been involved in various conflicts, including Syria, Libya, Sudan, and the Central African Republic, among others. The Wagner Group's modus operandi involves operating as a private military contractor, allowing the Russian government to maintain plausible deniability while achieving its strategic objectives. This flexibility enables them to operate in areas where direct military involvement would be politically challenging. The Wagner Group's capabilities extend beyond conventional warfare. They are known to specialize in asymmetric warfare, utilizing a combination of military force, information warfare, and covert operations to achieve their objectives. Their tactics often include training and advising local militias, conducting research, and even carrying out targeted assassinations. However, the Wagner Group's activities have drawn significant international scrutiny. Their presence in conflicts outside Russia's borders has raised concerns among Western countries and regional powers. Accusations of human rights abuses, including the recruitment of child soldiers, have been leveled against the group, further tarnishing their reputation. Despite their controversial nature, the Wagner Group remains a powerful and influential entity within Russia. Their close ties to the Kremlin and the backing of influential figures allow them to operate with relative impunity. However, their actions have also caused internal divisions within the Russian military, leading to conflicts and power struggles that eventually culminated in the Wagner Military Coup. The crisis in Ukraine began in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea, a region previously under Ukrainian control. The move sparked international condemnation and led to increased tensions between Russia and Ukraine. The Wagner Group, as we discussed earlier, played a significant role in securing key infrastructure and supporting pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine. As the conflict escalated, the Ukrainian government struggled to regain control of its territories. The Ukrainian military faced off against separatist groups supported by Russia, including the Wagner Group. The fighting resulted in a high number of casualties and a humanitarian crisis in the affected regions. The Ukrainian crisis also had broader geopolitical implications. It strained relations between Russia and Western countries, with the United States and European Union imposing economic sanctions on Russia in response to its actions. These sanctions further deepened the divide between Russia and the West. Amidst this backdrop of conflict and tension, internal divisions within the Russian military began to surface. The Wagner Group, with its growing influence and close ties to powerful figures, posed a challenge to the established military hierarchy. Reports emerged of disagreements over strategic objectives and concerns about the group's unchecked power. These internal conflicts reached a boiling point when the Wagner Group's ambitions clashed with the interest of key military leaders. The crisis in Ukraine became the catalyst for a dramatic turn of events within Russia itself. Frustrated by the Wagner Group's unregulated activities and the potential threat it posed to their authority, a faction of senior military officials, led by General Alexander Kuznetsov, initiated a coup against the Russian government. The coup aimed to rein in the Wagner Group's influence and restore control over military operations. The coup caught the Russian government off guard and led to a period of political instability and uncertainty. The military faction quickly gained control over key government institutions, including the intelligence agencies and strategic military assets. The Wagner military coup marked a turning point in Russia's history. It demonstrated the deep divisions within the Russian military and the complex power dynamics at play. It also revealed the extent to which private military contractors like the Wagner Group could challenge the traditional military establishment. Prior to the coup, Russia was grappling with a deteriorating economic situation. The annexation of Crimea and the subsequent conflict in Ukraine had strained the country's resources and led to economic sanctions from the West. These sanctions targeted key sectors of the Russian economy, including energy, finance, and defense. The economic pressures began to take a toll on the Russian population. The cost of living rose while wages stagnated, leading to growing inequality and social unrest. Ordinary citizens felt the weight of economic hardships, and their frustration with the government's inability to address these issues mounted. In addition to economic challenges, there were also concerns about corruption within the government. Reports of high-level officials engaging in illicit activities and embezzling public funds further eroded public trust and fueled resentment. The Wagner Group, led by its enigmatic chief, Yevgeny Prigozhin, exploited these economic grievances and discontent to further their own agenda. Prigozhin, a wealthy businessman with close ties to the Russian government, used his connections and resources to exert influence and consolidate power. The Wagner Group's rebellion coincided with mounting economic pressures on Russia. Western sanctions, imposed in response to Crimea's annexation and the alleged meddling in the 2016 US elections, had already crippled the Russian economy. As discontent grew within the Russian military and society, the Wagner chief saw an opportunity to expand his power and influence. Prigozhin leveraged the Wagner Group's private military capabilities to secure lucrative contracts both within Russia and abroad. The group operated in various conflict zones, including Ukraine, Syria, and Africa, profiting from their involvement in these regions. As the economic pressures mounted and public dissatisfaction grew, Prigozhin saw an opening to assert his influence and challenge the established power structure. He strategically positioned himself as a champion of the people, promising to address their economic grievances and restore stability. Backed by support from the CIA and an increasing public following, the Wagner chief orchestrated a series of revenge attacks against the Russian government. These attacks were in response to alleged Russian bombings of Wagner sites in Ukraine, resulting in significant casualties. The Wagner chief publicly declared his intent to punish those responsible, setting the stage for a dangerous power struggle. Prigozhin's power play reached its climax when he openly defied the Russian government and refused to comply with orders to halt the Wagner Group's activities. This act of defiance marked a direct challenge to the authority of the military and government institutions. The Wagner Military Coup, led by General Alexander Kuznetsov and his faction of military officials, was a direct response to Prigozhin's power play and the government's failure to rein in the Wagner Group. The coup plunged Russia into a state of political turmoil and uncertainty. The coup faction, leveraging their control over key military assets and institutions, confronted Prigozhin and his supporters head-on. What followed was a tense standoff that threatened to spiral into open conflict and civil unrest. As news of the coup spread, the Russian population, already disillusioned with the government, took to the streets in protest. Mass demonstrations and clashes with security forces pushed the country to the edge of revolution. The outcome of this critical moment in Russia's history hung in the balance. Would the coup faction succeed in their bid to reclaim control over the military and restore stability, or would the unrest escalate into a full-scale revolution, further reshaping the nation's future?